Hello, my name is Vineeth and this is Genespeak, the channel that's all about biochemistry and linguistics. Firstly, many thanks to Varun for editing this video and to Dan for helping me with the logo. Today's video is an introduction to what I hope to be a series of videos on linguistics, which run parallel to a series on biochemistry. We're going to be discussing phonology, but before that, let's take a look at what linguistics really is. So linguistics is a study of language, but that doesn't really give us much. Let's go through all of the things that linguistics isn't first to understand what it really is. Here are three major misconceptions about linguistics. Number 1. Linguists are grammar Nazis. Grammar Nazis correct people's grammar all the time, according to rules set by grammarians from the past and their own personal perception of how English should be. However, oftentimes, these rules don't really apply to the English spoken today, in the sense that people don't really adhere to them in speech, which is what linguists are really interested in. Linguists would look more like this, because they are more interested in descriptivism rather than prescriptivism. Let me explain. Prescriptivism is when you impose or prescribe rules onto language based on baseless ideals. Of all the varieties of English, prescriptivists, like grammar Nazis, take standard English as the only true version of English, while others are just corrupted dialects. This is just one example of a prescriptivist worldview. Linguists, on the other hand, are descriptivists, aiming to describe language and encapsulate all of its varieties in their description. There is no concept of right or wrong here, since there is no central standard on which to base it. As to how it handles language borders, I'll leave that to another video. Misconception number 2. Linguistics is about learning lots of languages. This comes along with the classic question, oh, you're a linguist? How many languages do you speak? This is really like asking a zoologist, how many pets do you have? Linguistics is about studying languages and how they work, not learning them. Yes, there's a difference. Finally, misconception number 3. Linguists are translators or interpreters. Though some linguists do go on to become interpreters, linguists can go on into a lot of different professions, from academia to technology. Now that we've covered what linguistics isn't, we can start to cover what linguistics actually is. To do this, here are some questions that linguistics can help answer. Why do most English question words begin with WH? How come how doesn't? Why does who start with a h sound? Why do the Hindi and French equivalents of these words all start with a k sound? How come Greek, a geographically closer language to English than Hindi, have p's everywhere? These are some of the few and simplest questions that can be answered through linguistics. In fact, these can all be explained largely through a single subdiscipline of linguistics. As its title suggests, this is all about phonology. By splitting the word up, you can get a sense of what it means. It's basically a way of studying speech sounds and trying to explain the way they change and alternate in the way they did in those examples. Languages from all around the world can be fundamentally explained by phonology. So let's look at what phonology is all about. To understand phonology, it's important to understand how sounds are produced. Looking at this diagram, let's take a look at consonants first. Consonants are produced when the airflow from the lungs is constricted or blocked in some way, kind of like in a flute. Each consonant has a unique place where airflow is blocked, manner in which airflow is blocked, and vibration from the vocal cords. Terminology isn't important for now. Let's look at the consonants p, t, and k. The sound p is made by stopping all airflow by closing the lips and explosively releasing it to create a p sound. The sound t is made by touching the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth just behind the teeth, similarly stopping all the air and explosively releasing it. The sound k is made by raising the back of your tongue to the back of your palate, also stopping all the air and explosively releasing it. Since all of these involve both stopping the airflow completely and explosively releasing it, these consonants are called stops or plosives. Each term describes a different part of their articulation, so they are not exactly the same, as we'll see more clearly later. Next, let's look at b, d, and g. It's pretty easy to say that these both involve the same points at which the airflow is blocked, or place of articulation, So what differentiates these two sets of sounds? The answer lies in the vibration of the vocal cords. You can try this out for yourself. Put 3 fingers on your throat and say b, d, and g. And you should be able to feel a vibration, though you might need to exaggerate a little bit. You shouldn't be able to feel this for p, t, and k. We call b, d, and g voiced, while p, t, and k are voiceless. This distinction is called voicing, and it contrasts a lot of different sounds from each other in English, as we'll see later. So what about the sounds m, n, and ng? You should be able to see that they all have the same points of articulation as the first 2 sets, and the same voicing as b, d, and g, since they are all voiced. So what differentiates this set from the others? This is where the manner of airflow constriction becomes important. These are all nasals, meaning the back of the mouth, also called the velum, is lowered, so that air is redirected into the nose. The blockages in the mouth don't actually block the airflow, but rather just create different resonance chambers, which is why these sounds sound quite similar. Really, these are called nasal stops, because they do involve the complete stopping of airflow, but they are not plosives, since there is no explosive release. I just call them nasals, but it's worth keeping this in mind. Finally, let's take a look at fricatives, which English has 9 to 10 of, depending on how you're counting. We have f, v, th, th, s, z, sh, zh, h, and h, the last of which only comes up in some words and certain dialects. The places of articulation of these sounds are quite different from the ones we've seen before, so I'll leave it for the next video. The manner of articulation, however, is simple. While stops block all of the airflow and then let it burst through explosively, fricatives let air through a tiny aperture, through which air has to squeeze through and as a result undergoes friction. This friction is what causes the characteristic hissiness of the fricatives. So let's go back to those questions from before and see what we can do with them. The sound correspondences are as follows. English has h or wh, French and Hindi have k, and Greek has p. The first similarity you can spot is that the last 3 are all voiceless stops, and even English has a voiceless fricative. This suggests that those question words all had a common ancestor, probably starting with a voiceless stop, since that is the mode here. Obviously, that isn't the full story, so if you want to find out more, like, subscribe, and keep yourself notified about when the next video is coming out. It was a lot of hard work making this video, so thanks for watching and keep learning.